For causing me so much trauma and pain, mentally, physically, emotionally, I had to be hospitalized more than once. For destroying my reputation and integrity, for my M for murderer scarlet letter, not letting me feel safe to live, talk to other people, spend time with my son, have a job, friendships, simply go to the bathroom with the door closed, or go to sleep soundly or comfortably. I forgive George for lying, for him trying in so many ways, so many times, to end me with his terrifying love.
Welcome to part 2 of Sarah Boone acting a fool, and you won't believe what's inside Sarah Boone's inmate behavior notes. Welcome in.
Alright, you had the right to remain silent. Anything you say and can will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have the present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questionings if you wish. Alright. You good, dude?
Welcome back. Welcome back. We were last on Sarah Boone's forgiveness speech to Jorge Torres, and we were also on page 16 of 84 of her inmate behavior notes. So I think that's where we're going to start today. Let me pull that up on the screen. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. Pull this window up here. Change it back to our dramatic music. That'll work. All the dramatics for Sarah Boone. Okay. Everybody's able to see that? Here we go. Perfect. And let me get my little guy moved. There we go. There we go. Okay. Positive officer contact on 11/14 of 2020. Inmate is receiving this positive for volunteering for food service, laundry exchange, doing extra cleanup around the dorm, taking the initiative by folding towels, reds, volunteering for special detail. Inmate continuously has a positive attitude and takes pride in the cleanliness of her surroundings. Positive earned. All the clappity claps, all the clappity claps. Clappity claps. That's three. Three positive officer contacts in 16 pages. All right, 11:15, refuses breakfast. 11:19, inmate received a bag meal in lieu of dinner tray due to allergy. Inmate received bread from regular tray. 11:21, inmate received a bag meal due to allergies. 11:22, received a bag meal. 11:23, refused breakfast. 11:25, razor was issued, returned intact. 11:28, 5:14 p.m., positive officer contact. She looks like she might be getting better, guys. Inmate volunteered to work for the day as the dorm trustee due to the trustee having the day off. Throughout the shift, she displayed a positive attitude while demonstrating a strong work ethic. She maintained a clean day room, cleaned and stocked the bathroom, con- conducted laundry, and helped set up and break down chow. Positive earned. Clappity claps for her. 12/02/2020, inmate was offered breakfast tray. Inmate verbally refused breakfast tray. 12/02/2020, information. Being that inmate Boone is allergic to soy, inmate was given a bag meal. Inmate stated to me that she wanted a tray. I stated to her, no. Inmate Boone constantly plays the officers when it comes to her meals. Some days she's allergic to soy and other days she is not. Inmate was observed in the day room during chow eating a regular tray with some beans. Oh, soy and beans? Oh, girl. She was observed in a day room during chow eating a regular tray with soy and beans. Oh, let's let's stop there and go and look and see how she's doing on her speech to George.
I also forgive the Torres family, his mother and father foremost, also his 2 ex-wives and daughters, all for knowing who George was capable of and has done in the past, his history of violence and where he learned it, then to keep turning a blind eye when I would ask for help. All of his siblings, including Pharrell Torres, who is now on his way to prison for stabbing the mother of their baby in the side of her head. For everyone who knew what George was doing to me, sometimes how and when, but allowed and enabled. I forgive them for caring too late.
All right, Josh Schiffer, I want to bring you in and just ask you quickly before we have to go to a break. I am shocked that this is what she's saying and forgiving George Torres for all the horrible things that she alleges he did, forgiving his family for knowing what he was capable of, turning a blind eye. This is not what I expected.
Look at that man's face. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Expected, Josh.
But is this forgiveness or is this just a screed? This is unhinged, bluntly. Like this shuts down a judge. Just absolutely shuts him down.
That's what I think too. All right, stand by, Jack. We're going to get back to you next block. We need to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear more of what Sarah Boone has to say to the court.
We're looking.
Absolutely disgusting, right? I know it's not just me who thinks that. She's a terrible person. All right, we're going to stop that right there. When we get back to it, she will continue her raving and ranting over the need for George's family to have forgiveness. Let's go back. Jeez. Okay, we're moving on. Page 17. We're at 12/5 of 2020. Refused breakfast. 12/5/2020. Negative officer contact. Dun, dun, dun. Back to it. Inmate Boone is receiving this negative for being in an unauthorized bunk area. All inmates were given dorm expectations and told that failure to follow such expectations would result in a negative. Negative earned. 12/8 refused breakfast. 12/9, 12/13 both refused breakfast. 12/13 at 12:06. Inmate was accommodated by medical with a special diet tray due to her allergies, in quotations. But Inmate Boone refused the tray. Inmate Boone picks and chooses what meals she wants and to be allergic to and demands extra or other foods when convenient for her. I explained to her, if the allergy is not the main course, she will not be receiving a bag meal. 12/13/2020 at 2:49 p.m. Negative officer contact. Move this up a little bit here. And we are right here. Inmate Boone approached the officer's desk and asked the officer, why wasn't she on the cleaning list? Because she was on the cleaning list this morning by Officer Green, B1 shift. I explained to her that per medical and her alerts, she's on a no work status dated 12/12/2020 by Nurse Harder. Inmate Boone stated to me that this cannot be because Officer Bridges on yesterday stated to her that she has no order and that the officer called medical, and they also confirmed that she is no longer on a no work order. I called Officer Bridges in J dorm, and Officer Bridges communicated to me that she never had a conversation with Inmate Boone regarding her work status. I explained to Inmate Boone per her alerts she still is under a no work status and that she cannot work until she is cleared. Inmate was not receptive and asked me to call medical. I stated to her I will not, and that she can speak with the nurse this afternoon if she will like during MedPass. Sarah, you don't get to dictate what everybody does or doesn't do in there. These police officers aren't going to be taken too kindly to you telling them how to run their pod. 1/5/2021. So that was actually Christmas Day when that happened. She was worried about cleaning on Christmas Day. She was very upset. It's 5:45 in the morning here, 12/5/2024 for me. I hope everybody's having a cup of coffee with me this morning. If you're on replay, make sure you come in and leave a like if you would, and maybe a comment down below. Tell me what you think of Sarah Boone in this case. I'm so curious as to what everybody else thinks. Am I the only one who thinks she's a loon? I can't be the only one who thinks she's a Looney Tune. Okay, we're on to 1/5 of 2021 now. Inmate refused breakfast. So she started out the year strong, didn't she? Razor returned intact. Refused breakfast, refused breakfast, refused breakfast. So we're already into 1/13 of 2021, 11:15 or 11:52 a.m. Inmate Boone refused chow today. Inmate Boone is allergic to soy and was offered a bag meal, in which she refused. 1/22 of 2021. Inmate refused lunch. I called the inmate kitchen and spoke with John. I asked him what was in the hot dogs, and he stated to me that it was soy and chicken. Inmate Boone is allergic to soy. A bag meal was offered. All right, let's go to the next page. We're on page 19. Inmate refused bag meal. Inmate Boone continues to pick and choose which soy meal she wants to eat. Today, lunch consisted of potatoes and soy meat. Inmate Boone constantly challenges this officer's decisions. I've spoken with medical on several occasions regarding getting Inmate Boone a special diet tray, again to no avail. 1/30, 2021, refuses breakfast tray. 2/2 of 2021, 8:45 a.m., negative officer contact. On this AM, I made an announcement for personal laundry. Most of the inmates came down with their laundry. As I was observing the process of how the new dorm trustee did laundry, I noticed that her and inmate Boone was conversating for a while. I observed inmate Boone put her personal laundry in the left laundry machine. As I was conducting my visual just out of curiosity, I looked into the laundry machine and saw that the only items in this particular machine was inmate Boone's. Being that we do not wash linens in the dorms, I took the sheet out of the washing machine and put it in the garbage bag and placed it out the door. Inmate Boone approached me in a defensive manner with her hands on her hips and stated to me, "So, are you going to give me another sheet?" I asked her, "Why don't you have a sheet?" She continued to babble about why she did not have a sheet and also why she put her sheet in the laundry and so on and so forth. I explained to her that linen exchange is done on the night shift, other than an emergency. Inmate was not, excuse me, Inmate was not receptive and stated to me that this matter is something else to add to her notes. I stated to her to please do exactly what you have to do. But now you are displaying a conduct that disrupts the orderly and security of this dorm by yelling at this officer. To continue to have order in the dorm, inmate Boone was escorted to the holding cell for informal discipline for 2 hours. Girl, you better behave yourself. She just doesn't know how. 2/4 of 2021. It's 2 days later at 12:38 a.m. Inmate is receiving this negative for talking in the bunk area. All inmates were advised of the dorm rules and that non-compliance would result in a negative. Negative earned. 2/4/27. Both refused breakfast tray. 2/11, razor returned intact. 2/18, razor returned intact. And it looks like on 2/18 at 5:44 p.m. there was a negative officer contact. And that's going into page 20. Inmate Boone is receiving a negative. While on break, Corporal Gilreath informed me, is that Gilreath? Maybe. Informed me that she instructed inmate Boone, Sarah, to go to her bunk. Inmate Boone was not properly wearing her face mask, as per the CDC guidelines. Inmate Boone informed Corporal Gilreath that she had some type of medical cream applied on her face, and she couldn't wear her face mask for 30 minutes. Inmate Boone also informed Corporal Gilreath that Officer Fulton was aware Inmate Boone did not have permission by this officer to improperly wear her face mask, a negative earned. 2/27 and 2/28 refused breakfast. 228 9:55 a.m. Negative officer contact. Inmate is receiving this negative for not having her face mask on after all inmates were advised to do so. 3-1, 3-2, 3-4, 3-5, 3-7, 3-8, and 3-9 all refused to take a breakfast tray. Inmate refused breakfast. Let's see how she's doing over here on her speech to George's family.
Back now to Florida and the sentencing hearing underway for Sarah Boone. She is facing up to life in prison after being found guilty of leaving her longtime boyfriend, Jorge Torres, to die in a suitcase back in February of 2020. The jury found her guilty of second-degree murder. Right now at this sentencing hearing, we are hearing from Sarah Boone herself. We hit the pause button. Let's go back in to hear more of what she says.
I forgive them for caring too late. I hope they all ask themselves while quiet and comfortable in bed at night the uneasy question, what could I have done to stop this from happening to both of them? And after all the times Sarah tried to, by asking for help from all of us and so many times. Another great contributor of my gold is social media, with its greed, insensitivity, deception, obvious exploitation, and advantageous gain from my criminal case as a whole, and for sentencing me by anticipation as a result of ignorance and hate, conjured and fabricated by the organized crime that is social media, which condemned me in the court of global public opinion since the beginning. My family law case is the new prey waiting to be picked apart and pillaged from me being made infamous by social media in my criminal case.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I'm going to go on just a little bit more because I'm just dumbfounded and there's no words. I have no words.
It simply seems I cannot forgive and be forgiven and move forward. Social media has made me a pariah. It has caused great oppression and undeniable disadvantages, especially by broadcasting and manipulating my cases online.
How do you even know about it, Sarah? How do you even know about the broadcasting and the, unless you've got people in your ear in your jail calls telling you all about how much of a pariah you are? Piece of shit.
Criminal case as a result, my opportunities to be given a fair, proper, and uninfluenced, successful conclusion was heavily depleted and poisoned. I forgive them. Also, all of the media tycoons for not having a life of their own, trying so desperately to make themselves seem so right by making me appear so wrong.
She forgives us, y'all. She forgives us. Thank you, Sarah, for absolving me of all of my sins. During your conclusion, your unfair and biased conclusion of your case, you absolved me of my sins, and now I am cleansed in the Sarah Boone ways. How exciting for me. How exciting. How exciting for all of us.
Forgiveness for prejudgment, ridiculous theatrics, lies, making and taking blood money from my and others' misfortunes, accidents, and catastrophes. It's all over their hands and their keyboards. And even after all that's been said and done, theorized, hypothesized, scrutinized, and blasphemed in my case, still no one knows me.
Bleh. Bleh. Okay. Let's get back to the behaviors. Anyways, 311 inmate refused breakfast tray. This is 311 of 2021. We're now at 314 2021. Inmate was issued a razor, returned all intact. 317 2021 at 7:41 a.m. On 316-15. 316-15? I'm sure that's supposed to be 2021. Yeah, 315-21. Okay. While working in FDCH dorm, inmate Boone approached the officer station and stated that she was still having issues with inmates Willis Kushonda and Linton Sandra. On 3/15/21, I spoke with all inmates concerned due to them having a disagreement in the bunk area. Inmate Boone stated that inmate Willis and Linton were harassing her and calling her a killer. Again, I spoke with both inmates about the situation. Both inmates stated that inmate Boone was lying. Linton and Willis stated that they were arguing because Boone is talking about them while she thinks they're sleeping. Due to inmate Boone demanding that both inmates be separated and she not be moved, I felt there was inmate manipulation in play. I spoke with Corporal Sutton about the incidents, and she stated she would speak with the inmates. That was on 317. 325, 326, and 328, the inmate refused breakfast tray. On 328 at 3:37 p.m., there was a negative officer contact. Here we go. During a random locker search and shakedown of inmate Boone's bunk area, inmate Boone had the following items in her locker. 1. Bottle of lotion that contains an unknown white powdery substance. 1. White roll of medical tape. 2. Sandy hand wipes and several Kleenex tissue paper. And several sheets of notebook paper and paper clips. She also had a head and shoulder shampoo bottle with hand sanitizer inside. Inmate Boone was asked what was inside the bottle labeled lotion but had a white powdery substance inside. She replied she didn't know and that she got it from an inmate that was no longer in jail by the name of Ashley. Inmate Boone has violated 3.10, possession of any contraband, anything not authorized for retention or receipt by the inmate and not issued to him through regular facility channels. Inmate was also counseled, appeared receptive, and understands that future incidents will result in formal disciplinary action. I wonder what that was. I mean, obviously it wasn't drugs. Maybe it was just baby powder or something. I don't know. I don't have the mind of an inmate, so I wouldn't know. 329, refused breakfast. 331, nail clipper issued to inmate and collected, inspected, and returned intact. We're on page 22 of 84, and we're now at 41121. Breakfast tray refused. 412, breakfast tray refused. 412-2021. You can tell it's getting more frequent on the officer contact. She might be getting a little more comfortable in her settings at this time. 412-2021 at 3:33 p.m. Inmate is receiving this negative for being in an unauthorized area. Inmate was observed passing something to inmate Bobby, who is housed on bunk number 40. Inmate should be noted that inmate Boone Sarah is housed on bunk 34. Okay. 419, inmate received a razor at lockdown. Razor returned intact after use. 419-2021, 11:48 a.m. with nice, clean-shaven legs. Yep. During a random locker search and shakedown of inmate Boone 20005623, she had ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, and sugar packets, all stored in legal envelopes that had been cut in half. Inmate Boone did not have any paperwork in these envelopes. Inmate Boone also had a handful of PREA flyers that were previously posted around the facility in regards to an upcoming audit, along with a bunch of cut up pieces of paper and brochures, as well as several Kleenex tissue papers. Inmate Boone has violated 3.10, possession of any contraband, anything not authorized for retention or receipt by the inmate and not issued to her through regular facility channels. I informed inmate Boone that anything altered from its original state was contraband and would be disposed of per Orange County policy. Inmate Boone was also counseled and appeared receptive. Okay. 423-2021, positive officer contact. Inmate consistently volunteers to help out around the dorm with completing various chores and tasks. We know. Clappity clap. Clappity clap for you. 427-2021, 9:44 a.m. Officer contact note. Move this up without. There we go. Oh, yeah, it's going to change that. This is where we're at right here. On this AM, inmate Boone came to the Medline with a manila envelope. I asked inmate Boone to let me see what she had in the envelope. Inmate Boone had 6 medicine containers. This is what the nurses put medicine in for the med pass, with some sort of medicine in it. I asked inmate Boone what was in these containers, and she stated to me that it was face wash. I stated to her that she should not have that much face wash, and she stated to me that she pays for it, and she should. I asked Nurse Scott when is she to use this, and Nurse Scott stated to me AM and PM. I stated to inmate Boone that she should be using the face wash as prescribed and not to be having leftovers. Inmate was not receptive. Are they nitpicking her, guys? For her attitude? Are they nitpicking her? 4/29/2021 at 5:36 a.m. refused breakfast tray. 5/3 positive earned. Inmate consistently volunteers to help out around the dorm with completing various chores and tasks. Clappity claps for you. Clappity claps. All right, let's go see how she's doing in her forgiveness speech. When we last left off, she had me completely in awe of her ways, and she had also forgiven us and our keyboards.
In the end, I forgive myself for not choosing my life sooner, for not being more brave, vigilant, bolder, and outspoken, stronger, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, for being hopeless, desperate, simple-minded, weak, and inexperienced. I forgive myself for not realizing I was enduring a life of domestic violence and that the vicious cycle of never ends. I had nothing to compare to. I've never been hit by a man ever before in my life. I was raised hitting a woman was wrong and should never happen. No excuse. I forgive myself for not escaping permanently, for not fighting back sooner to save myself, my son, my dogs, home, and car. Having 20/20 hindsight, thinking of everything I could have done differently or better to avoid the outcome. I think about this every day since. Also, of all the good days we had together, for him at least, while I was constantly in hyperdrive, high alert, and paranoid, making sure I did everything right all the time. If not, the great possibility I would be ended as George threatened me with so many times before. I forgive myself for falling in love with a monster, and no matter how grotesque he may become, I still loved him, hoped, and forgave. I tried breaking the spell so he wouldn't be a monster anymore. I saw who he was inside. George made me then, now, and always love him for all of his cracks also. We made each other our own brilliant pieces of art from the cracks and repairs. Unfortunately, not all cracks can be. In all of my forgiveness, George is my greatest.
Not all cracks can be because not because you played hide and seek. He was in a suitcase and you let him asphyxiate over the 11-hour period while you went to sleep. So yeah, no. Not all can be repaired.
Lesson and will forever be a part of me. I think of him every day and still speak to him when alone on the rec yard. I ask his forgiveness and that he looks for me at the gates of heaven so I can tell him how sorry I am endlessly and that I never stopped loving him in all of it and still. When I first came to jail, I put my mat under my bed and cried all day and all night for months, only falling asleep from being so exhausted with grief. I wrote him letters. I wrote his family and his daughters, apologizing for asking for their forgiveness. But due to fear that my life or sons would be jeopardized, I did not send. I am sorry. I cannot.
Going to reserve any comment here. Just take it for what it is. We're now on page 20. Whoa. I went to turn, and I was in my outrage at being forgiven too early in the speech. I yanked my mic out of my. Okay. We're now at 5/4/2021 on page 23 out of 84. Inmate refuses breakfast on 5/4/58. Positive officer contact on 5/9/2021 at 5:50 p.m. Inmate consistently volunteers to help out around the dorm with completing various chores and tasks. I'm all out of cookies. Oh, just 2 in a row. 1 a.m. My goodness. 5/10/2021, 1 a.m. Inmate assisted with maintaining the cleanliness of the dorm. Inmate worked diligently with a positive attitude. Due to the inmate's hard work, the inmate is receiving this positive. Does it cancel out the negatives? 5/10, breakfast tray was available and offered. Inmate refused. 5/12/2021 at 9:07 a.m. Negative officer contact. Inmate Boone, along with the other inmates that attend the faith-based program in H dorm, was advised to get ready for the program that starts at 900 hours. Calm down, okay? Calm down, Hio. Inmate Boone, along with the other inmates that attends the faith-based program in H dorm, was advised to get ready for the program that starts at 0900 hours. Inmate Boone was observed entering the classroom and then exited out and entered the shower. Inmate Boone was told to complete her shower before 0900 hours to attend the program, to which is the reason why she is housed in this dorm. Inmate Boone began to yell from the shower, stating that the lady from yesterday told her that the program doesn't start until 0930 hours. Inmate Boone was counseled about her behavior and was receptive. A negative was earned. 5/13/2021, unable to meet with inmate on 5/13/2021 due to shakedown occurring in H dorm informational purposes. 5/14, 9:22 a.m. I met with inmate Boone to extend case management services. At this time, she has declined assistance, but was informed that should this change, she could fill out an inmate request form, and I will meet with her at the time. Informational purposes. 5/20, razor issued and collected intact. 5/21, inmate refused a breakfast tray. 5/22, positive officer contact. Inmate consistently volunteers to help out around the dorm with completing various chores and tasks. A positive earned. Negative officer contact on 5/23 at 8:15 p.m. Inmate is receiving this negative for talking in the bunk area. All inmates were advised that the dorm rules and the non-compliance would result in a negative. Negative earned. This girl does not know how to be quiet in the bunk area. She just automatically assumes she has the right to do whatever she wants. You're in jail, ma'am. 5/24, inmate refused breakfast tray. 5/27 of 2021, negative officer contact. Inmate Boone is receiving this negative for her attitude. Inmate Boone was assigned to clean the inmate restroom. While speaking with another inmate, Inmate Boone rudely interrupted, stating that she needed a garbage bag. She was informed that if she couldn't clearly see, I was speaking with someone and that her interrupting was rude and she needed to wait. She immediately got an attitude, stating, "All I asked for was a garbage bag. I'm the one cleaning, and I'm just trying to get done." She again was addressed on her attitude, to which she apologized. Speaking of apologies, she's doing an awful lot of that over there. She is forgiving us and absolving us of our sins, forgiving George, forgiving George's family, and forgiving herself for falling in love with a monster. Let's see what else she has to say in her forgiveness speech.
Not begin to fathom any of their grief and sadness. Please forgive me. Almost everything reminds me of him, seeing my stab wound especially every day especially. It truly reminds me that all I really did live through. George haunts me. He is everywhere. I believe because I do still love him, think of him, and miss his laugh the most. In my heart, I know he is with me and understands that this tragedy was not intentional. I hope everyone can, his family foremost. I didn't mean for this to happen. Please wholeheartedly know that, and always, I would never. Forgive me, George. Forgive me, Torres family. Forgive me, Judge Cranick. To the entire planet, please forgive me. I graciously and humbly ask for consideration, for forgiveness to be extended instead of judgment, for reconciliation and restoration for all of us to move forward. My apology is profuse and ceaseless. Allow me.
She started out the whole entire speech with how much she's forgiven George for all of the things that he did to her, and now she's asking forgiveness for her actions. It just doesn't bode. Like, the two things don't mix. I don't understand where she's coming from.
Be pleased to brush off the muck, wipe the blood off of my face, and fix the cuts in my skin. I ask for understanding in what really happened and for how long. For second chances, repentance, and redemption, to advocate for all domestic violence survivors, to help them overcome, heal, and still hope, always, to make their voices heard, to confidently walk with all of their scars on the outside and the inside, to help them not ever become a casualty of domestic violence as so many others, to stop the abuse and maltreatment before.
And on that note, let me ask you, Sarah, who became the casualty of domestic violence? Because it seems to me that you're both lost. Both of them are lost. George is gone. He's passed on. He's never coming back. And you're going to prison for the rest of your life while you have a child, a son out here that gets raised without a mother. So who's lost? Mm-mm. All right. Back over here, see where we were. She had an attitude. All right, 5:29, 8:21 p.m. Inmate used and returned nail clippers intact. We're up to 6/6/2021. Negative officer impact at 8:16 p.m. All inmates were given the dorm rules and expectations. Inmate was observed in an unauthorized bunk area. Due to the inmate's failure to follow instructions, the inmate is receiving this negative. 6/7, 6/10, and 6/11 refused breakfast tray. 6/11, up a little bit. Oh, oh. I guess it's not going to let me move it up so you can see it. 6/11/2021, 2:02 p.m. At approximately 13:58 hours, DSO Beckford observed inmate Boone being hugged by her attorney at the end of her interview. Sergeant Dunn was immediately notified and addressed the attorney in the lobby before he departed. Lieutenant Wright was notified by Sergeant Dunn. That's a no-no, Sarah. That's a no-no. 6/14, Razor returned intact. 6/19, 6/20, and 6/21 refused breakfast tray. 6/21/2021, 9:09 p.m. Officer contact note. Inmate Boone attended the faith-based program. Due to the clock not keeping accurate time in the program room, she asked me to inform her when it was 20:30 hours. At 20:30 hours, I informed her of the time. Upon exiting the program at approximately 20:50 hours, inmate Boone approached me and stated that the program's instructor, Miss LeMay, and her had words over me informing her of the time. When Miss LeMay exited, I asked her if there was an issue during the program. She informed me that inmate Boone was rude and told her that she goes over the allotted time and she needs to be in her car at 9. She informed me that inmate Boone was rude and told her that she goes over the allotted time and she needs to be in her car at 9. Miss LeMay stated that she would speak with the chaplain about inmate Boone's behavior and to clarify the time. Okay. 6/22, 23, 24, 25, 7/1, and 7/4, inmate refused a breakfast tray. 7/7, razor used and returned intact. 7/12/2021, refused blues exchange. Nasty girl. Nasty. 7/14, refused breakfast tray. 7/16, refused breakfast tray. 17, 7/18, refused breakfast tray. 7/30, razor returned intact. Okay, 8/13, 8/14, 8/18, refused breakfast tray. 8/27, refused breakfast. Now we're moving along. 8/28, refused breakfast. 29/31 as well. 9/1. Oh, she managed to go a few days. Well, actually a month, huh? 2 months. She was doing pretty good. Negative officer contact on 9/1/2021. Inmate Boone has gone above and beyond to help staff. Inmate Boone had volunteered to clean the dorm for the last 5 days. But doesn't that say negative? Inmate Boone has gone above and beyond to help staff. Inmate Boone had volunteered to clean the dorm for the last 5 days. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be positive. That's funny. Can you imagine getting entered in as a negative for for volunteering? 9/2/2021 at 9:55 p.m. Inmate is receiving this negative for not being properly dressed when leaving her bunk area. Properly dressed includes a face mask, which she did not have on. Negative earned. I did not like wearing the face masks. I avoided going out so I didn't have to wear them. They were very uncomfortable for me. 9/3, 9/5, 9/6, 9/7, 9/8 all refused breakfast tray. 9/11 as well. 9/13 razor issued and returned intact. 9/21, 9/22 refused breakfast tray. Classification note on 9/29/2021 at 8:43 a.m. Inmate Sarah Boone was removed from the faith-based program on today due to several complaints of intimidation, bullying, and antagonizing inmate workers in the dorm, specifically dorm workers. I spoke with her approximately 3 weeks ago due to complaints from an inmate worker assigned to dorm trustee. I advised her she would be removed from the faith-based program and relocated if she continued this negative behavior. Her negative behavior has continued, and therefore she was relocated to a new housing dorm to resolve this issue. Program staff and chaplain notified via email. Dun dun dun. You should have done what you're supposed to do, ma'am. 9/29/2021 at 10:58 a.m. Inmate Boone has been removed from the faith-based program, Life Learning Program, without previous notification to the program director. Chaplain was notified by email after the fact. It should be noted that Inmate Boone is one of the most improved program participants with no discipline issues, respectful, and always willing to help. Chaplain Gonzalez. Well, isn't that nice of her? So she has somebody advocating for her to without previous notification from the program director. She didn't agree with the reclassification, obviously. 10/5, 10/6 refused breakfast. 10/7 razor returned intact. 10/12 and 10/13 inmate refused breakfast. Moving on to page 29. Refused breakfast all the way through October. If I'm not mistaken, too, I believe her birthday falls somewhere in this October range. What did we hear? 10, was it 10/10/77 or 10/7/77 all the time when they're asking for her name and date of birth? Somewhere in that direction, but I think her birthday is in the October month. All right, we're all the way down on 11/2 of 2021. Let's check in on Sarah over here and her speech.
Or it's too late. There is always hope, and you can survive. In my soft-spoken conclusion, I ask this: would I be the darling mother, celebrated woman of the year, if it were I who died? How many daughters, mothers, sisters, aunts, grandmothers, nieces, and friends have been because they did? I am a survivor. Learn to do good, seek justice, rebuke oppressors, defend the fatherless, plead for the widow. Isaiah 1:17, all-encompassing, protect the abused.
Wow, let's bring back in criminal defense attorneys Jack Rice and Josh Schiffer. Jack, let me start with you this time. Asking forgiveness, or rather granting forgiveness, to George, the Torres family, social media, the media tycoons.
I'll go back just a little tiny bit. Watch his face. Oh, this is classic.
Granting forgiveness to George, the Torres family, social media, the media tycoons, and herself, and asking for George's forgiveness. What do you think of all this?
in a soft-spoken conclusion, was her words. Actually, if you look up narcissism in the dictionary, you're going to see her picture. I mean, this is extraordinary. If there is such a thing as doubling down, this is it. If you think about what it is that a defendant, a convicted criminal, a convicted murderer needs to do at sentencing, this ain't it.
Amen.
This is exactly how what you do is you light this person up and say, this is how you get life. This is the person who never sees the outside of the jail cell, because after you do it, after you're convicted of it, the response is, I'm really sorry for myself, and it was Georgia's fault, and it was the corrupt police department's fault, and it was the social media's fault, and it was every lawyer's fault, and it was the corrupt system's fault and the judge's fault, but it wasn't my fault. This is how you go to prison for life.
And that's exactly where she's going to be. We are ending out today on page 29 to pick up for part 3 and to finish Sarah Boone's lovely speech. And I thank you all for hanging out with me. If you're watching this on the replay, if you would do me a favor, just give me a like, maybe a comment down in the section below. Any questions at all, send me an email. And as always, thank you for hanging with Hio.